Hello everyone, and welcome to the Great American Stamping Show. I'm Brandy Barnard, one of 4 contestants who will face off today. We've all been assigned the same bundle, and we will be each showing you a project that we've made with this bundle, and it's your job to choose who is your favorite, hopefully me. And all you have to do is like the video that you like the best, and we will find out next week, 2 more weeks in episode 2, who our winner was. So for this time, we have been assigned the Gorgeously Made bundle. And so I'm super excited to show you an amazing project that I've designed using this bundle. And in order to watch the other 3 contestants' projects, you can look in my video description and click on the links for each of their projects too. Okay, let's get started. When we first got this assignment, I took every one of these stamps, mounted them on my blocks, took all of these dies out of the package. There are 5 in the set, and I just started cutting and stamping and seeing what I could create. One of my favorite pieces that you get here is this little kind of a notebook edge in the die set. And so it's this long piece that you can cut off the edge of any size piece of paper and leave it with kind of this torn notebook edge look. And it also has this cool dotted line. So on my project today, I am going to be doing that on this little piece. I've used a few of my very favorite colors. This is soft Seafoam. I've also got Lemon Lolly. You can see that I love the super light pastel colors, or at least that's what I've been in the mood for lately. And we're gonna do those 2 plus a bit of shaded spruce, some basic white, and some of my favorite. This is called More Dazzle. Okay, so I've got a piece of each of these. So step 1, I am going to take this die and just cut off about maybe a 1/2 inch total by the time there's a little hanging off and I run it through. So I'm just going to put this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I like to call it my big boss. I need the basic platform, the lifter platform too, and then look at these beautiful brand new plates. And I will put this right between them. In order to hold this in place while I am cutting, I like to use a little washi tape. So I'm just gonna cut off a bit and put it on this end, and another little bit and put it down here. And that'll just keep this right in place while I'm running it through my big boss. All right, here's what we get after this has run through. So I've got this cool notebook edge, and here's the little piece that it cut off. Cool, right? So I could see being able to use both of these pieces for different projects. I'll set this one aside for now. Today I'll just be working with this Seafoam one. So let's do a little bit of stamping. I'm going to use my big old leaf stamp in the shaded spruce ink. And anytime I have a stamp this big, I like to bring the ink to it instead of bringing the stamp to the ink, and that way I can see really well when it's super inky. I'm gonna give it a little diagonal treatment here and push. Nice. Okay. I'm also going to stamp the words. I've got a cute little thank you here that's in the stamp set. I'm going to put that right down here, just like that. And then a little more stamping. This little backgroundy piece is just kind of got all these cool faded words. That is in the stamp set as well. And so I'm going to use it with the soft Seafoam ink on soft Seafoam paper and just kind of stamp it all over here. I'll come right in. Maybe just a little bit there and just a really little there. I like how the stamping goes right off onto these notebook edge bits. Okay. Now, here comes the fun part. I really thought each of these little berry bud thingies need something on them. I wanted those to be embellished somehow. And that made me think of the loose daisy embellishments, which I really have not used these much, but they're a cute little embellishment, kind of unique in our current annual catalog. And they're not paper thin, they're a little bit thicker than that. They're not exactly rubbery, but that's the best way I can describe them. There's like a texture to it. And I'm going to nip off this tiny little green leaf because it doesn't happen to be shaded spruce. And so I want that to go away and I just want the flower. So I'm just going to put the tiniest dot of my adhesive and then place it right there. And I'll go ahead and do that with several more of these little leaves. Nip, tiny drop of glue, and adhere. Okay, I got all 8 little flowers adhered here, and as I was going, I realized some of these are larger than others, like there are a few different little sizes. And I want to show you another little tip while I'm at it here. There are a few spots on my leaves, because these are so bold, they stamped just a little, you know, they're just not perfectly dark all the way through, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Right marker, and I am not trying to color it all the way in. I am just adding a few more little swoops of color. And this does a couple things for it. It fills in the leaves a little bit more, but it also gives it some nice texture because it's a leaf and leaves aren't perfectly smooth in nature. They have cool veins and lines and things all the way up them. So I get double benefit from doing this. I get nice darker leaves and more natural looking leaves. Now, if you don't feel like being so fussy and hand trimming and gluing that many little tiny flowers on, there are so many great embellishments in our catalog that work very, very well on this particular stamp. So watch at the end of the video. I'm going to show you several options that I've already done with this and done different types of embellishments on here. So for now, let's bring this over and layer it onto just a little layer of shaded spruce. So this is the matching color to the ink that I already used. I'm adding a little of my Seal Plus, my very favorite paper to paper adhesive, and see how that's just giving it the tiny little like 1/16 of an inch edge around there. Such a nice frame up for this. And now the card's getting ready to come together, but on this layer, I would like to add a bit of texture. So the embossing folder that I chose for this project is from a cool 3-pack of folders that's currently available in our online exclusives. So that's one of those things you have to grab it while you can because those items will sell out. They're not pictured in any catalog, and they are just like kind of fun spur of the moment add-ons that Stampin' Up puts in there for us. So go check it out. All of the products I'm showing you here are linked in my video description so you can find them easily. And I'm just going to put it here on my basic platform with platform 4 on top and run it through my Big Boss. The texture you get from this is really quite understated, but yet it makes a big punch. It's an all over texture with just lines going back and forth, kind of like a crosshatch, but because the lines are so narrow, there's like a delicateness to it that's really pretty. So I feel like this goes well on almost any card. Just going to put my adhesive on my card base and let the embossed piece stick down to it. Just like that. And this is starting to come together. I'll add my Dazzle paper, but I want it to show as much as possible. So one way to kind of get that to happen is to tilt it. We'll get it like that. And then on this layer, before I attach, I want to add a little embellishment. This set of ribbon is so fun. In the catalog, it's just called Sheer Ribbon Combo Pack. You get this Lemon Lolly shade, you get a nice blue, I think this is the Azure Afternoon, and the new Bubble Bath shade. Look, that's all that's left. I've used almost all of that one. But they are just, like, the width is really great to work with, and the way that it ties and crumples and bends is really easy to work with, and it has just a delicate shimmer on the edge that doesn't overtake the project at all, but it just gives it just a little bit of a glimmer there, which is what inspired me to use the glimmer paper with it. So I'm going to grab about 11 inches here of the yellow shade. And I want this ribbon to tie all the way around, and the bow will be kind of just above the words thank you. So we'll work it right in between a couple of those notebook torn edges, right in like this. And then let it come around the other side. And I'm just making my knot right above the words. Just did a right over left, left over right, holding that middle finger down right there so that the knot can't move while the second knot's getting created. Pull that nice and tight. Can adjust here. Got my trusty ribbon scissors to give it a really pretty cut. Ooh. And then if you end up with it loose, you can tuck a mini glue dot behind there. That's a kind of a little cheat that might help sometimes. Let's go in with dimensionals for the 4 corners of this layer. And now I am squaring this up again, so I'm looking at the edges of the yellow to make sure it's nice and straight on top of this layer, and you get these kind of intermixing greens and yellow shades, tiny pop of pink with those flowers, and a great glimmery peak. I love how this card turned out. Let me show you a few versions that I've done with this. Like I said, I had fun playing with different embellishments. So this one is just the little yellow kind of shimmer dots that you can get in this pack. This one's called the Adhesive Backed Solid Gems, and you get the 3 different shades, but I used a bunch of my yellow ones to make little flowers. So these cards are identical except for the different embellishments. And then here's another version with the flowers. You can see I did the ribbon differently on here. Very first step, I did my thank you crooked, so no worries, I just added a bunch of thank yous and let that fade in and out. But you can see this was the first time I tried with those flowers. A few differences here. I did the background with the stamping on that background in this little text image. And then also the layer here, the white embossing, that's one of the other folders from the same 3-pack that I was talking about. And then last but not least, I tried it in another color too. And so here's my bubble bath version of the same ribbon. Here is some berry burst and bubble bath paper with the same shaded spruce green. And then I used a pack of sequins to do the little flowers on this one. So I've got white, pink, and green sequins everywhere on there. So there are all the different versions. Well, that's it, friends. I hope you enjoyed checking out my project, and I hope it was your very, very favorite out of our 4 contestants. Don't forget, all you have to do is like the video from your favorite project, and if you haven't seen the other 3 yet, their links are in my video description, and you will help determine who is the winner of the Great American Stampin Show. And I will see you again in 2 weeks, right back here on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single thing. See you then.